All praise to the Most High Creator and Sustainer of life. Blessings on the Creator's creation. Blessings on the subscribers and supporters of the Church Talk Unlimited channel with James Paul Berry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. And thank everyone who does or says anything to assist my journey to please God. A shout out to all of my relatives, young people who are graduating in Virginia, in Georgia, in Alabama, and in Florida. And a shout out to all of you young people who are graduating and moving up in education. God bless you all. I mention thanks to everyone who does or says anything to assist my journey to please God. And I know God is just a generic term. I'm talking about God in terms of power, who put the universe together. And when I look at what I do know about the universe, I see intelligence, I see skill, I see power when I see what the sun does for us. Anyway, that's the God I'm talking about. Hello, it is Saturday, June 1st, 2024, 8 p.m. And I apologize if there were any mix-ups, but I decided to push the time back so that I could do something that I had planned. And so that's why I'm here. This will not be a normal thing, and I'm sorry, but I sort of had to do it this way in order to go ahead and stay with my scheduled topics. Those of you down there in Alabama and Georgia, I know you guys already at 10 p.m. I'm sorry about that, but thank you so much for your presence here. Our talk today is on the subject of forgiveness, and I want to say, no matter what the topic of the day is, we are always concerned with the realities of poor people, and especially those who are members of the churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples. Now, I know we can't cover everything, and I don't intend to cover everything. This is called Church Talk Unlimited. So when I initiate a conversation about a word or a phrase or an organization, I'm initiating a conversation, not necessarily a solution, but a conversation that will hopefully lead to a solution. And I'm hoping that in the coming days soon, that those of us who are in churches and mosques and temples and synagogues and fraternities and sororities and other organizations will work, if no more than work within our own organizations, to do things that are more commonly needed among all people in these organizations with some of the money that we have taken up over the years. Forgiveness, based on the New Testament scriptures of John 3:16 and 17, Jesus said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved." So my understanding of this verse is that Jesus is saying the world had gotten so bad, it had become so bad that it was lost. It had offended God so much. And God wanted to redeem it. God wanted to save the world. So God created a son. God gave the world a son. God produced a son for the world to atone for the sin of the world. Unlike the Old Testament, the Torah, when the nation of Israel used, the 12 tribes of Israel used animals as sacrifices according to the Torah for the forgiveness of sins. So Jesus said, God so loved the world that he produced a son, and those who believe in him would not perish. Believe in him, follow him, trust him, obey him. We need forgiveness or we would perish, according to Jesus. And not only that, but we would have everlasting life. Because God sent this son not to condemn the world, to perish, but to give the world forgiveness. The American Heritage Dictionary says perish means to die or be destroyed, especially in a violent or untimely manner. To pass from existence, disappear gradually, to spoil or deteriorate, to bring to destruction. We need forgiveness, according to the New Testament, in order to escape the destruction that is going to come on those who do not receive the forgiveness for the things that they have pursued that is against the will of the Creator. Forgiveness. Based on words of the New Testament, we all need it at some point in our lives. The Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome, the 3rd chapter and the 23rd verse of Romans, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. If that is true, all need forgiveness. In the Holy Quran, there are 3 words that are used to denote forgiveness. One is hafara, to cover someone's sins, used by the Quran exclusively to denote the forgiveness of God for human beings. And you can read all of these things for yourself. I will definitely cite the reference that I used. The second term is fawa, to pardon lovingly, used to denote forgiveness in the general sense, occasionally by God, but mostly among human beings. This word root has the implication not only of forgiveness, but of the complete erasure of wrong. The third one in the Quran is afaha, to overlook, literally to turn the page of a book. I found this information on a website. It is noranazmi.com. That's Nora, like spelling a woman's name, Nora, NORANAZMY.com. noranazmi.com, if you would like to go there and read for yourselves. Also in the Quran, Surah 2, and I'm just not getting acquainted with using the Quran, so I may not give you some of the information properly, but Surah 2, 109, the Quran says, quite a number of the people of the book wish they could turn you back to infidelity after you have believed, but forgive and overlook till Allah accomplishes his purpose, for Allah hath power over all things. And I got this from one of my books titled The Meaning of the Holy Quran by Abdullah Yusuf Ali. All of the books that I study and read show in all of them references of translations, versions, and revisions, all of them. In one of the books I looked at, it mentioned atone, which is to make amends for someone or something. The American Heritage Dictionary says forgiveness is the act of forgiving. So when we put all of these words together, we come up with forgiving or forgiveness being making amends for someone or something. Something, sometimes, maybe my dog gets out and hurts your cat, and I make amends by paying the hospital bill. Forgiveness. As I said in my earlier statements, based on the New Testament, we all need it. Based on the New Testament and the Quran, I'm willing to admit that I certainly need it. Not only do I need it for myself, I need to offer it to those who offend me, to those who do things that are not glorious to our Creator. But when those things happen and we have an opportunity to embrace people again, we need to offer forgiveness. Now, I have a question, because I believe that if a person doesn't care, you don't waste your time. I'm not saying going around bringing up what a person has done to you all the time, but the teachings that I have read from the New Testament, which is my most used book for myself, Jesus said, if your brother asks you for forgiveness, you ought to forgive. But if a person keeps treating you with disrespect, do you forgive that? Now, I know Jesus said, if you don't forgive men their trespasses, neither will your heavenly Father forgive you. But what if somebody is doing the same thing over and over again, and they say, I'm sorry? Even the law of the United States don't accept that. But I digress. I'm simply speaking out of my head right now, just talking. Forgiveness. Some of us based on my research, we even need to consider forgiving ourselves. I've heard from a religious standpoint, young people, young preachers who would somewhat put seniors on blast because they had become so spiritual minded in their old age. But that's usually how it happens. We have to make our mistakes, bump our head, go to jail, get pregnant, get married, get divorced. Some folks get killed, all kinds of things. But based on the New Testament, we all need forgiveness, old folk and young folk. And if you're ever going to live long enough to become an old folk, I think you're going to need to embrace forgiveness. I don't think anyone wants to perish, to be destroyed. And I don't think anyone really knows the depth of that from the perspective of the Quran or the perspective of the Holy Bible. But we do know that we have enough intelligence that when we have done things that were out of character for ourselves or out of character for the environment that we were in or the social norms, what it was like to say, I'm sorry, and be accepted. Forgiveness. I want forgiveness for all of the things that I've done wrong, said wrong, thought wrong. I'm not sure how to get it, but I certainly believe in talking to my brothers and sisters. There are a lot of things going on in the world, always. But because of the internet, now we can learn about these things in a matter of seconds. But we're still people. We're still the same people that we've always been. It's more of us in touch with each other. We're going to have to forgive each other, but we're also going to have to respect each other. And there are many things going on, and people don't want to talk about it. People coming across the border with permission from some Americans, but it's hurting us because it's an invasion and it is against the Constitution, where the United States government is supposed to protect every state in the Union against invasion. And unless I'm wrong, anybody who crosses that border without legal authority is an invader. Forgiveness. Atoning for someone else's mistake. Accepting them, embracing them, being merciful to them. But Jesus also said, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Again, I know some of you guys may be falling asleep, and I'm sorry again that I came on so late, 3 hours later than normal. I appreciate you being here. I see a few of you are here, and I thank you so much for all that you do. So I'm going to see who's in the live chat, and then I'm going to say good night, and pretty soon I'm going to go to sleep myself. So until next time, God bless you. Nobody's here, so God bless you all. Have a good night.